what is a trust? And what are the key concepts when it comes to the strategy of estate planning known as a trust? One, a trust, we are looking at one creating an entity for the sole benefit of those he cares about. And why would you create a trust? You are creating a trust to make sure that even after your death, still your beneficiaries can be provided for. The best way I can explain a trust is by telling you who are the parties to a trust, right? Now, the person who makes a trust in these instances is known as the settlor. The settlor is you who thinks that the next day you might not be alive and you need to prepare how your property shall be managed or be distributed in order to benefit your young children up to when maybe they turn 18 years. You get it? Then we have parties referred to as trustees. Now, these are people that are there to manage the estate property. These trustees, you can name more as you want, 1, 2, 3, 4, or any you want, and they constitute what referred to as a board of trustees. Now, these people are the one that you give authority to manage the property that you have put into this particular trust. Then you have the estate property. Estate property is the property that you have gained over time, and you want the trustees to manage it for the benefit of the people you love, right? And when it comes to these trustees, they have to be chosen well to make sure that they also don't disappoint you someday. So estate property can be land, estate property can be already invoked building or commercial building, estate property can be shares in a given company, right? Then from that we shall have beneficiaries. Beneficiaries, these are the people you care about. Your children, your parents, your relatives, those dependents, your adopted children, and all those persons that you want to provide for, even when maybe you kick the bucket or even when you die. So actually, when it comes to trusts, it's like you're trusting people with your property to manage it and then cater for your children. And these trustees actually, they are also they are also in one way or the other responsible, and they have a duty of care to make sure they manage the estate property well. And if they don't do so, actually the beneficiaries can sue them for any mismanagement. So in this concept, you have a person who thinks that maybe they work in very harsh conditions and they want to create a way out of how their children and all their beneficiaries, all those they love, can be catered for, whether still alive or when they have died. So actually, why would people choose trusts over any other strategies of estate planning? Because when it comes to trusts, you can even create it when you're still alive, and it will start off. That's what referred to as a living trust. Then there is that trust you put in your will, which we refer to as a testamentary trust. This will arise upon your demise. That once we read your will and we find out that you have put a clause that says, put this property or create a trust, and that trust will be having such and such persons as trustees, and then it will benefit these kids. Most especially, trusts are created to help little children, at least to be catered for until they get done with their education. Because you cannot trust your relatives. We know relatives of late. You leave them with your property as executors. Before you know, they are only developing themselves and their children. So actually, a person will create a living trust or a testamentary trust within their will, and they're providing for those minors until they reach the age of 18. And then they will provide the dissolution clause in that trust deed. Because this trust is created in a document, in a legal document known as a trust deed. So they will put a clause that upon maybe these kids reaching 18 years, or upon them completing their university education, the trust shall be dissolved, and the property that has been acquired over time by the trust shall be equally distributed to these particular children, right? And that is why very many educated people would prefer creating a trust. You find out that people have preserved generational wealth through creating trusts. You look at certain buildings around town that have been managed by generations, but through trusts. Such wealth never fades, it never goes away. So, actually, viewers of Legal Corner today, you must go further. If at all you think that you cannot trust any person by creating a will and naming them as executors, if you think that you cannot trust even your relatives or any other person, it is better to create what we refer to as a living trust. This living trust will even commence before your death. And such property that you put as trust property actually ceases to be yours, and it belongs to this particular trust once it has been created, incorporated, and registered. Ladies and gentlemen, I've told you about trusts. For those that don't understand English, maybe I've used a little of hard dialect, legal dialect. This is what I meant by trust. A trust osobola okukwata abantu beweesiga bana babiri basatu n'obeesiga ne properties ezimu oba ebintu by'okoze ebikalu. Abantu bano obeesiga nga mukoze endagaano gye tuyita trust deed, nga ebaneeminga oba nga ebateekawo ng'abagenda okubanga balabaalaba ebintu byo oba nga babimanaginga ku lwabo b'ofaako, abaana, bakyala bo, bazadde bo, ne woba ng'okyali mulamu. Mu mbeera eyo wejjako omugugu ogw'okuba nti maybe okolera mu bugubi nti oyinza okufa, okolera Sudan wabeerayo entalo buli kanaku, osobola okufa. So singa oba okuyetinze trust eno kikuyamba okuba nga teweeraliikirira nti bwe mba nfudde abantu bange banaalabirwa batwanedda. Okuyetinga trust okwata abantu n'obeesiga n'ebintu byo, wabaawo endagaano eno ebeera ebakwatako, era nabo bennyini baba batasobola kumismanaginga bintu bino. Era olumala okucreatinga trust eno, abantu bano dobawo obwesigwa okumanaginga ebintu bino nga bebalabirira abo boofaako, endagaano eyo eregistering-ibwa. Era mu kuregistering-ibwa kitegeeza nti ne bano abantu b'owadde obwesigwa tebasobola mu kaseera konna ate kwata bintu byonna babikozesa ku lwabwe wabula si ku lwabali be wabataddeko ng'abalina okukifunamu. Wabula olina okukitegeera nti oba okola trust eno oba oba entalinga trust deed eno, abantu bano oteekamu obuwaayiro, bagenda sasulwa batwa. Tugamba bano abagenda omanaginga ebintu bagenda sasulwa batya, how are they going to be paid? Two, you have to be specific on the property that you are identifying as trust property, and you must provide documents that speak to those property. And you yourself, if it's a land title, your name is going to be cancelled out on the land title, and then the trust name is going to be inserted there, and the trust will legally own this property, but for the benefit of the beneficiaries you have laid out. Ladies and gentlemen, if you need any more knowledge about trusts, any brief, anything, you can always contact us. Our numbers are there, and we can either create a legal opinion for you to understand whether it will work for you, or to explain more on how it works, or to even help you create one.